In this video I'll be explaining the Criminally Insane / Psych Ward DLC for Prison Architect. Now once you've actually got the DLC, there's one setting with Create a New Prison that you can either turn on or turn off. It's the Criminally Insane inmates. If you decide to turn it on, you can intake Criminally Insane inmates, and your current inmates could also turn criminally insane. If you turn it off, neither of that can happen, but you can always turn it on when you've gotten into the game. To do that, just take that, hit play, let the prison load, and then in the intake tab, once you've gotten into the game, you can enable and then it'll just all turn on. Now I've set up a bit of a prison to showcase this DLC. In this subblock right here, I've made the criminally insane wing. There's all the things that come with the DLC in here, except for the padded holding cell, because I never tend to build a holding cell, so I didn't for this one either. There's 4 new rooms. They're all marked blue: the padded cells, the padded holding cells, the padded solitary, and the psychiatrist office. Now the first thing you'll notice with these guys is they have this bar above their head. This is pretty much their needs / suppressment meter. This guy is not needy right now or suppressed, so he's just doing all right. His bar is not too high, it's white, you can barely see the line. As for this guy, he's kind of agitated because either his needs aren't met or he's just too suppressed because there's too many guards around or something like that. Once this bar gets full, so they don't have any needs met or they're too suppressed, they'll actually just start outraging, punching everything and everyone, and that's no good. They'll just be violent all the time. To lower this meter, you can start a program which is called a psychiatric consultation. With this program, they go to this guy. You can build multiple officers for him, and this guy's just going to have a talk with them, and that's going to lower their meter. You obviously want their meter to be as low as possible, so there is little of a risk to your prison as possible. I always tend to just make their own cell block and then isolate it from the old prison, so that they cannot turn anyone else criminally insane, because if they're close to normal prisoners, they may actually do that as well. Now your normal prisoners can also turn criminally insane. This can happen if they are too suppressed, needs are met, kind of the same stuff as how the meter fills up. So if you keep their needs met and you don't suppress them too much by placing down, for example, too many armed guards, then you should be just fine. If this does happen, make sure you always have 1 or 2 spaces in your criminally insane wing free. I don't have that right now, probably because one of the regular inmates turned criminally insane. I always tend to have 1 or 2 spaces free, but just keep that in mind. Now the criminally insane inmates cannot be handled by a normal guard because they may harm them in any way, treat them too harshly. So you actually will need these orderlies, which you'll first need to research in the bureaucracy tab. Just obviously get the warden, then get health, and then the orderlies right next. And you just place these, you make them do, you deploy them, you make them do paroles where the criminally insane inmates will be. And these guys will sedate them if necessary. You can also see that they have a sedative on them, so that they can use that on a prisoner if that's necessary. Keep in mind, the prisoner could also beat this guy up and steal it and use it for other reasons, but as long as they're not agitated, it should be fine. Now I've noticed a few of those prisoners getting released. I don't think that's been through parole, but that could actually happen, I think. It's not very clear in the game and I haven't been able to find it anywhere else. So just keep in mind, some of them may be released if they behave good, for example, or if they just haven't been a mess. They haven't been messing up the prison at all. Keep in mind, these guys can also work. Make sure you just build their own little workstation, work area right next to their cells so they don't interfere with the other prisoners. This will actually also keep them happy. I have not done this, but they seem to be fine. The health is apparently low for this guy. His work experience is 1 because he has not worked, but he seems to be just fine. I think the most important ones are to keep punishment and reform as high as possible, and the rest kind of average or below is just fine. Now, if you want to check my regime for them, this is it. It's the white line. It's been working just fine up until this point. I do force them to go into the yard so they actually exercise, and the rest is just programs. Programs is actually the psychiatrist office, the program, so make sure you have those in. Anyway, I hope you found this guide helpful. Make sure to click subscribe and click on this next video about planning your prison. Maybe that can help you plan it out a bit better. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed.